watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
And hello, welcome to the Scottish Football Zone, and we are on a bit later tonight because it is transfer deadline day, and believe it or not, we are the last window to shut. It's hard to believe that France and Germany, Spain, I think it all finished at 7 o'clock, and that wee league in England. Oh yeah, the Premiership in England. That's the wee league I'm talking about. They finished at 7 o'clock tonight. So we've got a top team to guide you through the last half an hour of the window. Delighted to say I'm joined by my Euro sidekicks, Ethan and Alex tonight, and Alex is disappointed me because he's not got on a yellow tie, but I think he's got on a jacket. I'm not actually which.
Got a jacket on. Didn't have a yellow tie, but I thought I'd dress up for the deadline day.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what's happening in the last half hour or so.
And Robbie is on the show, and Telf as well. So we'll get stuck into the transfer window in Scotland. But before we get on to it, guys, yesterday, sorry, on Friday's show, you may remember that Ethan interviewed somebody from the transplant football team from Scotland. It's the transplant football team. It's designed for people that's had, obviously transplant. And it's the first team in Scotland. And believe it or not, they beat our old enemy from down the down the road, even England. We beat England 1-0.
Yeah, well, I think it was not London United that they played.
London United, yeah, but it's still England.
It's still England, yeah, and we're the only, obviously, that is the Scottish representative team that Duncan represents, and yeah, a great result. And as I said to Duncan when I was finished the interview, I'll be keeping an eye on the Scottish transplant team, and hopefully we get more teams across the cities.
Yep. So I just got email last night just to say that it was a well-attended event. All the donations went to breast cancer care in Bells Hill. So that was brilliant to see. So well done to the team involved. So guys, it's on to the transfer window. About half an hour to go before the window shuts. Give us the headlines so far, Ethan, if there is any.
Yeah, I'll just go through every team and sort of what they've done on deadline day. I'll start with the two newly promoted sides. Livingston have completed two new additions today, and it probably takes them well over 15 new signings this summer. West Ham United, 21-year-old wing-back Junior Robinson signs on a season-long loan deal, as does Manchester City, 21-year-old defensive midfielder Mahamadou Sissoko. Both of them spent bits of last season on loan in the lower leagues of England, but now they're under David Martindale at Livingston. I think the Falkirk fans weren't too happy with their business early in the window, or lack of. They made some real statement signings, but not much to follow. They've added 4 loan signings, and in the last hour they've completed another one. Swansea City defender Philip Lisa joins on a season-long loan subject to international clearance. Across the sort of rest of the league, Kilmarnock haven't done anything on deadline day. I think they're pretty happy with their business as a whole. Motherwell just completed their first signing of the day. Just there, they've signed Celtic defender Stephen Welsh on a season-long loan. St Mirren haven't brought anyone in. They have loaned out their midfielder, Ocean Smith, to Partick Thistle, and apparently they are looking to bring in a speedy striker in the final half an hour. For the two Dundee clubs, nothing much today. I think Dundee United done a lot of their business earlier on in the window. Stephen Paisley said a few weeks ago that he wanted 6 new players in. Since then, they've had 4 in, so maybe Dundee will bring in 1 or 2 in the final half an hour. They were linked with Celtic right back Colby Donovan, but that one fell through after Alistair Johnson's injury. In Edinburgh, Hearts have arguably had the best window of any side in the Premiership, breaking their transfer record with the signing of the Brazilian Agu for £1.7 million. They've spent €3 million approximately across the window, and they look like one of the more relaxed sides on deadline day. Hibs, though, could make a massive move in the final hour, as Scottish international Lyndon Dykes apparently wants a loan move from Leith. Wants a loan move to Leith from Birmingham City. Also, some big rumours coming out of Aberdeen. Today, they confirmed that last season's player of the season, Shane Morris, joins Luton Town. Another big outgoing, which we haven't got confirmation for yet, but it looks like 17-year-old Scotland youth international Fletcher Boyd will be going to Burnley for around £1 million. And then another one, a big maybe incoming at Aberdeen we've not had confirmation of yet, is Kevin Nisbet, who obviously spent the season on loan from Millwall last campaign and won Players' Player of the Season. He's been rumoured to be making a permanent move to the Granite City. And then in Glasgow, it's been a pretty successful deadline day for Rangers. The man who was Rangers' most expensive signing this summer going into today, Oscar Cortez, has completed a season-long loan move to Sporting Gijón in La Liga 2. Rangers have also completed the sale of last season's Premiership top scorer Cyril Dessers to Panathinaikos for around £3 million, I believe, as he replaces their captain, Fotis Giannidis. Rangers also complete the signing of Canadian central defender Derek Cornelius on a loan with an option to buy from Olympique Marseille. And Rangers, the big one of the day, their second most expensive signing in history, 25 years on from Tor Andre Flo. It's Everton striker Yusuf Chermiti, who signs for, I believe it's £8 million, possibly rising to 10. He signed from the Toffees and from Sporting CP in 2023, and after 3 goals in the Portuguese capital, he's failed to score in 24 appearances at the Merseyside club. I can see Alex's.
I've got a bit of breaking news that could be good news for Celtic fans. Kelechi Iheanacho has terminated his contract at Sevilla, so he's now a free agent.
What, he's just terminated his contract just there?
Yeah, Sevilla posted an agreement has been reached with Kelechi Iheanacho to rescind his contract. Best of luck for the future.
Well, I think that probably, talking about Celtic, there's a lot to go through. It's been a comedy sketch from Celtic today for almost anyone but Celtic fans. And the deadline day sort of sums up the whole window and the recent performances. Toothless, missing the target and not getting the job done. They did complete the sale of Adam Ida for £6 million, rising to possibly 7. After just a season in Glasgow, he joins Swansea City. And Liam Delap's injury for Chelsea created a strange domino effect across Europe, which caused Kasper Dolberg's move to Celtic to be hijacked by his old club, Ajax. Celtic were also linked with Chelsea forward David Datro Fofana, but he turned the Scottish champions down to instead join Charlton Athletic on loan. Bit of a strange one. But Celtic have apparently reached a deal with Hammarby in excess of £5 million for Tunisian winger Sebastian Teneke, after the club seemed to be holding out despite Celtic reaching their valuation. He has 8 goals and 7 assists in his last 50 appearances for his current club and his previous one, Haugesund in Norway. Yang was also linked with an exit out of Celtic Park for £3 million to Birmingham City, but that one fell through. Celtic were looking to replace him with a panic loan for out of favour Burnley man Manuel Benson, but both deals fell through. Celtic need 2 strikers and a winger, and we've got 19 minutes left. Although Teneke looks like he is possibly a done deal, and as Alex just told us, with Kelechi Iheanacho terminate his contract, Brendan Rodgers' old mate and phone book could be used again to save Celtic on the final minutes of the window.
Yeah, maybe. But it has been a disaster for Celtic today. It's just been rumour after rumour. It seemed like they were putting all their eggs in the Kasper Dolberg basket. And since that deal, since Ajax hijacked the deal, they seem to have been scrambling all day for a striker. And they've gone through a few options, and they've settled on Kelechi Iheanacho. I'm obviously we're not aware of how long they've been working on the deal behind the scenes, how long Celtic have been aware that he's a free agent. But I'd imagine they'd be working extremely hard to get that one over the line before the window shuts. But I think even after the window shuts as well, though, I think we might be due a couple of announcements. I think you mentioned Kevin Nisbet when speaking about Aberdeen. I think that deal has been all but confirmed by multiple sources. We're just waiting on an official announcement from Aberdeen, and I'll be interested to see what St Mirren do as well, because like you said, the only reports I've seen is they're in for a striker, and I haven't seen any actual names. I don't know if I've missed anything, Robbie, but
Dan Ndulu looks like he's going to be the striker recruitment in from Bolton Wanderers. I believe he's coming in from. That deal looks almost done, I think.
All right, good. Well, I've made 4 TikTok videos talking about transfers. I've been sitting in my room with 3 screens on the whole day, so my brain's practically mush at this point. You guys are getting the last ounces of brain cells that I've got left, but I must have missed that one. Thanks for keeping me updated.
Yeah. No, I believe it's only been a thing for maybe about 15 minutes publicly, so it's not been an all day sort of news. Ethan, just on Iheanacho and your perspective, I was looking at his goal record, and I know you can't really judge him until he plays in the Scottish League, but his goal record isn't exactly world beaten. It's not exactly a high quality striker. He's a pretty big name because the amount of time he spent in English football, but his goal return's no the greatest. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I don't think it's ideal, but I think any player that was going to Celtic on deadline day wasn't going to be ideal. I think even if you look at Sebastian Tenetke, the winger that looks to be a done deal from the Tunisian winger from the Swedish league, the amount that Celtic are paying for him is a lot more than probably they should do. But ultimately, they need to get the players in because they've left it to the last minute, and they could have got a player of Jakob Breum's quality, who I would say probably looks better than Sebastian Tenetke with better stats in a better league, but they didn't want to pay the money at that time, and now they've had to bite the bullet, paying a little bit more than they would want to on Tenetke, and same with Kelechi Iheanacho. I think Brendan Rodgers has seen that unless he goes and gets a signing sorted, then they're not going to have a striker by the time it strikes 11 o'clock. And yeah, it's just the terrible state that Celtic have been in throughout the whole window, and it's an embarrassment how incompetent the football club has run for how dominant they've been in Scotland over the years.
The sort of unsubstantiated rumour that you kind of sent me would really be troubling if that was the case. Ethan sent me a thing. It was like a friend of a friend kind of thing, so take it with a pinch of salt. But apparently Yang was on his way to Birmingham City. They just needed him to sign the papers, and they were calling Michael Nicholson, and Birmingham got so mad that Nicholson just wouldn't pick up the phone, and they pulled the deal.
Yeah, not completely reliable. It's could be a load of nonsense, of course, but
yeah, it's word of mouth.
It's doing the rounds on X now, so yeah, you wouldn't put it past Celtic with how poor they've been this window, and the players that have been sort of taken away from them, even Kasper Dolberg. I think if they had got in there and signed him quickly, then he could have been a Celtic player, but they still didn't go in all guns blazing and paid the price when the strange scenario of Liam Delap got his hamstring injury on Saturday against Fulham. Then Chelsea were forced to recall Mark Guéhi from Sunderland, which meant Sunderland signed Brian Brobby from Ajax, which meant Ajax were interested in Kasper Dolberg and therefore take him off Celtic's hands. And yeah, Celtic only have themselves to blame for the scenario they're in, and the fans will, after a terrible week in the Champions League and a very lacklustre performance at Ibrox, they'll be even more unhappy with how deadline days went, and it just seems like it can't get any worse for them, but obviously it has.
And it just goes to show you, like, Teke was Celtic's third bid for them, the amount of pressure that they were on, and with Kuhn, Kyogo, even Taylor, there's a good 3 or 4 or 5 of their spine has been taken out, and maybe only a couple of them you can argue are an upgrade. And as well with Dolberg, I think they've been linked with him for the past year. So it even shows that there's things that could be going on for a lot better. But maybe it can make the league a tiny bit more exciting. Maybe they won't get to 90 points, fingers crossed. Well, there's only 86 or 88 this year. Might make a difference.
Well, I'm surprised that you're here, Telford, because I thought you were away celebrating Hearts. Hearts has won the league this weekend.
I'm not making the Yandanda mistake from last season, but top 4 minimum, third or second is slight chance. Who knows? Well, if Martin stays, that confidence will grow.
What do you think of the signing so far? Hearts has made, and I mean, you've made a brilliant start to the season under McInnes.
Yeah, it's been promising. I think you can't really argue with much of the signings. Maybe it would have been good to offload a few more players. One argument is for like a right back, but I think the Norwegian Borchgrevink, his injuries not judged to be as bad as it was. The momentum's there. McInnes still needs to sort out his favoured formation, whether it's 5 at the back or 3 at the back or 4 at the back. We're still a one-half team at the moment, so still a work in progress.
I've seen a lot of calls just to play the 4-4-2 because the fans seem to enjoy that one the best, and that seems to work the best.
Yeah, we were too narrow, or when the first half at Livingston, it seems we kept the ball well, but that final pass before crossing into Braga or Shanks, just no one was there. No one was in front of Harry Milne or Ocean McEntee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's Hearts have had an interesting window. They've signed a lot of players you may not have heard of before, but they're quickly kind of making their names known to Scottish football, and it is definitely. I think everyone laughed at Tony Bloom when he said it was they want to. I think he said the next 10 years they want to win the league title. But I think he was alluding to they could compete this season. But the way it's worked out so far, Rangers have started awfully, diabolically, you could say. Celtic have not started. Obviously, they've got 10 points from their opening 4 games, and an Old Firm game in there. If without any context, if you asked a Celtic fan, they'd probably take that, but with the way the recruitments went, with the way the performances have been recently, I think there might be an opportunity for Hearts to push this season.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. And there was an opportunity we fought for quite a while last season that Aberdeen would maybe do the same, and obviously it collapsed for them in dramatic fashion. But yeah, Hearts seem to have a really good, strong squad there. As I said, I think they've had the best transfer window of any club. And when Celtic have not replaced Kyogo, Nicholas Kuhn, and possibly Adam Ida by the end of the transfer window, then yeah, and obviously with what's going on at Rangers with Russell Martin now, then there's definitely a chance for Hearts to start the season really well and put pressure on those two. And of course, there'll be other teams that'll want to have their name in the mix as well. I think Hibs, although they've drawn yesterday, they'll think they can get a good level of momentum together, especially now they're not getting any European football to worry about.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Hibs, but when you look at Midtjylland, Partizan Belgrade, and Legia, their pedigree and where the Serbian team is and the Danish team, they're both top of their league or second, and Legia of their European pedigree, so it shows they will be a force.
Yeah, definitely. I think I don't know if you've seen any developments on this, but I know Eli Yuan was linked with a move to Legia Warsaw earlier today. I don't know how that one's developed.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything since that kind of original report, but that was definitely an interesting one, and that's really sticking the boot in, isn't it? After you've put them out the Conference League, and now you're going after one of their players, but. I know it was definitely the level of quality. I think I've spoke about this that sort of Hibs played throughout there. Every tie they had was hard, and they came very close to beating Midtjylland, or at least taking it to penalties. They came very, very close to beating Legia Warsaw as well, and obviously they did beat Partizan Belgrade. So, I think they were dealt the short straw, but yeah, now they don't have European football to worry about, like Ethan said, and maybe they can kick on and get involved as well and make it an exciting division for once.
Just to let you know, guys, I'm reading here that Hibs are still ongoing, pushing the deal with Lyndon Dykes over the line. They've not the deal has not been concluded yet. Dykes is still with the Scotland squad in Glasgow, but no medical issues has been issued as of yet. So if Hibs want to get a move on, they've got about 7 minutes, is that right, to push that one over the line?
Yeah, that would be a great sign for Hibs as well. It gives them another option. I know they've got Kieran Bowie, who's that kind of similar player, that big physical presence, but Lyndon Dykes really is that big physical presence, and he's obviously shown, especially for Scotland in the last few years, that maybe not almost the biggest goal threat, but if you need someone to play a long ball to that can hold up and win fouls and win knockdowns, then he's certainly your man, and I think he would be a good signing for Hibs in the closing stages.
I think Hibs maybe missed that against us at the weekend. I thought up front on the top end of the pitch, I thought they maybe needed a Dykes to go in there and make it difficult, because hard enough playing against physical defenders in this league, but with that back three, I can imagine it's even harder. So getting somebody like Dykes through the door would be big, and big games as well. The Dykes, you're right, he's not got the best goal scoring record, but his overall play is superb, and we've seen it for Scotland time and time again as well. So it'd be a good move.
Yeah, and it's almost half the league are looking for strikers. St Mirren, as you said, Robbie looking to get one over the line. Hibs, Aberdeen, Celtic. So yeah, there's a third of the league looking to get a striker in the final stages. And obviously, I think there'll be a few announced after the 11 o'clock deadline, but that's obviously when they need to get the deal sheets, as they're called, and
yeah, I was watching, right, they're not as good anymore because the news is always on Twitter beforehand, but it's kind of a tradition for me. I watch Deadline Day on Sky and see, I forget every year, and then they start, like half an hour ago, they start banging on about these deal sheets, and I'm like, oh, come on guys, I don't care about the deal sheets, just tell me about something that's happened. They do like a full 15-minute segment on deal sheets and how they work.
I don't know about you guys, but the story of the day, apart from the transfer window, was Tim Hag getting sacked after 2 games. I mean, how bizarre was that? I mean, I've never heard of that before. 2 games.
Yeah, maybe Russell Martin should have been sacked after 2 games, but Erik ten Hag he's another one that's been tainted by the poison chalice that seems to be Manchester United, because he was great before. He goes to United and he fails. Now he's out and he's been rubbish, and Bayer Leverkusen have sacked him.
Just get a bit of breaking news, guys. Kevin Nisbet, that deal is going to go through Aberdeen, but It's not been kind of like announced yet, but hopefully before maybe 11 or 5 past 11, we'll hear Nisbet has been going to Aberdeen, and that's a good move for Aberdeen, Robbie.
A very good move for Aberdeen. Obviously, I played there last season. We know what he's like. He's been in Scottish football long enough, so they'll be hoping he can bring something to the table. I mean, let's be honest, it's been a dreadful start for Aberdeen in terms of the league so far this season. So they'll need to try and get a man in that can score goals, because against Falkirk they were just so poor at the top end of the pitch. And, they can't afford to start going on a losing run. We've seen it with Aberdeen, Hibs, and, many of the other big teams when they take a slight dip off for a season. Some have finished in the bottom 6, it can happen. So Aberdeen want to make sure that that's not the case. And, builds pressure on Tillane as well. How many times have we said that, Tillane, if they didn't win that cup and they didn't have that really good run, would they still be in a job at this point? I'm not sure. So it's important they get in this bit.
I don't know if I had missed this, but is Esther Sockler still at Aberdeen? Because I saw he was linked to a move away earlier today, but I haven't seen anything after that.
I think he's still there, yeah.
It's kind of a funny one, because obviously I think Nisbet's a really good signing, but if they bring him in, as far as I'm aware, they'll have 5 strikers. Obviously the forgotten man, Ambrose, he's rubbish. He's not getting anywhere near the first team. And then they'll have Esther Sockler, Kevin Nisbet, Marko Lazetic, and I think Cassini Yenge could end up like Ambrose if he continues the way he's going, because he looks rubbish. But they've got him as well. So I know maybe they're obviously competition for places is good, but I think there's a fine line between competition for places and having a bit of a bloated kind of area of the squad. It could become a headache.
Yeah, but I think they did need to get a sort of proven goal scorer in.
I think they did, but the point I'm making is that
I think you're right. Ideally, they would have probably wanted to shift a couple of them. But I don't know if they are going to be able to. I do think there's transfer windows open after ours closes. I know the Belgian ones open until a week, still open another week. So there is transfer windows, and Aberdeen will open those opportunities that maybe they can get a few the strikers out of favour off the wage packet. But I think, as we've said, Kevin Nisbet will be a great signing who's proven in the Scottish Premiership and Players' Player of the Season last campaign at Aberdeen. So that's maybe what Jimmy Tillane needed, because I think the recruitment's been pretty good. I know that maybe the signings haven't worked out so well so far, but they need to start getting results, and a striker that scores goals will always help that.
As well, Alfie Dorrington was able to stay on as well at Aberdeen following his loan, so that should steady the ship at the other end, I guess.
Yeah, I spoke to at the start of the season. I spoke to Glenn Schroeder from Red Tinted Glasses, and he was really happy to have Dorrington back in for another season. He thinks he adds a bit of much needed stability to the squad.
St Mirren have just tweeted going to the wire, so it does look like Dan Nundulu will be signing at the club, which is, I suppose, a positive. Robinson's been speaking for weeks that he wants another pacey forward into the club, so that's only positive. Yeah,
that is a good signing that St Mirren have got. I don't know much about the player, but if that's what they needed, then it's good that they've managed to get that in before the deadline. And obviously the deadline is...
shut.
Yeah, the deadline is shut, but we'll still probably await a few announcements from the clubs.
Yeah, no, even I was just going to say that I know that the Celtic fans aren't too kind of like enamoured and Ida as well, but I mean, I think the Celtic fans would rather him staying, because he is basically like your number one striker and either way, and it looks as though that Celtic could get No strikers, bit Maida will wait up there till January now.
Yeah, quite possibly, and I think the writing's on the wall now that with Kelechi Iheanacho, if his contract's been terminated, but obviously means Celtic there's no real urgency to get that one over the line because he is now a free agent and can be signed out with the transfer window. I do believe the deadline for the Europa League squad is in the coming days though, so Celtic will need to make sure they get him in before that to get him registered for the squad. And yeah, knowing Celtic, they probably will get him signed after the deadline for the squad and he won't be in it. But yeah,
thinking they'll get out of the group and then won't.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've got a little bit of news. Wrexham have announced the signing of Scotland international Dom Hyam.
Oh.
So, did you also? Here's a little interesting fact. Did you know Wrexham actually have the biggest net spend in the world? I think this summer.
What? Across all teams in the world?
I don't know if it's because obviously since then Liverpool have signed Isak, so they might have pulled ahead. But in comparison to like selling and buying and stuff, Wrexham had the most, and it was like 40 million or something.
That is ridiculous. I think, yeah, as you said, Liverpool have probably overtaken them today with Isak, the British record fee. But yeah, that is a crazy statistic if that was the case beforehand. I know Liverpool have spent over £400 million on players this window, which is crazy, but they've also obviously sold a lot. Ben Doak being one of them.
A team that I worry for like this year when I was looking at like signings and lack of, particularly Dundee, I just feel we've not had much strength and depth, and even for like a support for Murray up top, I feel. And I know the appointment of Presley was a bit mediocre or subpar, shall we say, some D's fans, but yeah.
The Ryan Jack deal fell through as well. And also, I've got a bit more breaking news. Kevin Nisbet has been officially announced by Aberdeen, so that's him in the door. So good signing, guys. Though we spoke about it like 5 minutes ago, but good signing for Aberdeen there. I think they needed a proven goal scorer, and a competition for places and all that. But back to Dundee. Yeah, the Ryan Jack deal collapsed, and I think I agree with your points there. That it's they've signed a lot of. It feels like their kind of approach has been a little bit scattergun at times, and I think with time they will bed in, but I still think they'll be in a little bit of a fight this season. Maybe a bit more fight from them than we all expected, but I need to hang my hat on that Dundee are a decent team since they got that draw at Ibrox, because if they just start getting battered every week, I'll be quite depressed. But hopefully for a regular on the show, Stuart, that they can pull together this season and stay up.
Well, they were very good yesterday.
By the way, just to jump in there, guys, Kevin Nisbet, as you alluded to, sing for Aberdeen, 3-year deal, not bad, not bad bit of business.
St Mirren have announced the signing of Enlund Dulu as well. So let's see, the forward joins the Saints on a 1-year deal, subject to international clearance. Do you make it that one, Robbie?
He's not got a great goal record, I'll be honest. I think he's scored like no more than 5 goals for each of the clubs he's played for. So
it's better than Charity.
But I mean, like Robinson's known for getting the best out of players, so I'm still hopeful he can get the best out of him, and we've got a bit more pace up front as well, which is always good. But even I wanted to ask you, I read something there about Iheanacho, and he's only played 12 minutes for Middlesbrough and 34 minutes for Nigeria since April, and that was across 2 friendlies. see if he does come into the club, how long do you think it will take him to get fit and actually into the first team?
I don't know. It could take weeks. You don't know, and that's the thing. It's unbelievable how little planning there seems to be going on at Celtic Park, and yeah, it is a real. It is. I imagine they're not going to get another striker in. He might possibly be the only one that they get in, and he's not even going to be in for the window ending because he's a free agent, so there's no urgency to get him in unless there's someone that we don't know about that comes in.
This is a bit. Oh, sorry, Michael.
No.
This is a bit of a conspiracy theory. But do you think the board aren't backing Rodgers purposefully because they know he's going to leave at the end of his contract and they want a new manager to come in, and so all his players won't be there when the new manager comes in?
Possibly, but I think this has been not to this extreme extent, but this has been a problem for Celtic for decades now. This has been the worst one. Yeah, this has been the worst one, and there's no doubt about that. But this has been a problem that's been apparent for years. The failure to get through the Champions League qualifiers because of a lack of strengthening before them has been a consistent thing. And it's only natural if you have a really good squad there and you don't sell any players and you keep the same squad, it doesn't just naturally mean that it's going to work. And because things become stale, players become distracted, they don't have competition for places. I know maybe the counter argument to that is something like Liverpool last season. They didn't bring in any players last summer, but they did have a new manager come in, so that's a bit different. But if you look at a team like Aston Villa, for example, this season, they've started the season terribly because they've barely signed any players, and yeah, they got into the latter stages of the Champions League last campaign and qualified for Europe again with a good squad with John McGinn at the heart of it as the captain. But because they've not brought in many players, I know they have done a few bits of deadline day business. It becomes stale, and the players just become naturally not as good and don't play as well for the manager, and that's what's happened at Celtic. And you couple that with the fact they've lost one of their key players in Nicholas Kuhn, Kyogo before that in January, and now Adam Idah. It's 3 of Celtic's 4 top goal scorers that have left in the last 6 months, and you could argue haven't been replaced.
And even worse, the fact that Jota and Alistair Johnston are out with long-term injuries, and Celtic are still working on that winger. It might be done, and we might just be waiting on an announcement. We don't know. And as far as I'm aware, there's been no right back cover been rumoured at all. Never mind brought in.
No. It looks like they're just going to stick with Anthony Ralston and Colby Donovan there. I believe Marcelo Sarachi, the left back signed for Boca Juniors, can also cover there. But yeah, you would have thought that maybe they would bring someone in. But to be fair, Colby Donovan did look good when he came on against Kara Almaty in that second leg. So maybe as a capable backup to Anthony Ralston, although the jury is definitely still out on whether Anthony Ralston is a capable starter for half of the Europa League campaign.
See, to be fair though, I know that there was no attacking threat at all from either team. I thought Ralston was all right on Sunday. I thought he was one of the standouts, and that might not be so much a compliment to him and more of an insult to the rest of the team. But I thought him and Liam Scales were probably Celtic's best 2 players on Sunday.
By the way, just to let you know, Ethan was telling us about the windows. So Portugal window is open till midnight, and Belgium and Switzerland windows are open till next Monday. That's what you said, Dave, from the 8th. The Saudi League, I don't think nobody will be buying anyone from Saudi, not unless they get robbed about 10 banks or something. Their window shuts on the 23rd of September. Turkey and Greece window shuts on Sunday the 12th of September. A bit of a weird day for the window. It was shut on a Sunday. And the Serbia League is on the Friday the 17th of September. So there you go. I just wanted to say thank to Alan Brown for watching on YouTube. He's a Dundee fan. Welcome along, mate. And if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, do so, because the numbers are going up and up and up, and that's brilliant to see. The Scottish Football Zone. Sorry to interrupt, guys, but I thought we'd just update you on different windows.
Ethan, is there anybody that...
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, Ethan, is there any worry that Iheanacho doesn't sign with Celtic? I mean, we've seen a lot of deals fall through this window. I know it looks like he's certainly heading for Celtic because he's terminated his contract, but is there any worry in the back of your mind that it maybe doesn't?
Yeah, no, that's definitely a possibility, of course, that he's a free agent now. Anyone can negotiate with him, and if you're going off Celtic's recent performances and negotiating terms, then not very good, not very successful, and it rarely Celtic get a deal done first time. And I've just seen something that might put a little bit of doubt into Celtic's deal for Taneke, is that another Hammarby player could also be leaving them. Arabi, his name is a Swedish player, and he was going to be signing for Genk, I believe. And it all relates to the former Celtic South Korean striker you might remember was linked with
That's mental, by the way. I couldn't believe that when I saw that. £24 million for I checked
it's fell through now, so...
Oh, did it fall through?
Yeah, he had an injury that Stuttgart weren't happy with and wanted to renegotiate with Genk, and they weren't having any of it, so...
well, fair enough, but I checked. It's mad that they were going to pay that anyway, and I checked his goal records because I thought, has he been banging them in for Genk? It's not. It's barely better than his goal record at Celtic, so I don't know what they were paying for.
Yeah, it is really strange. Obviously, they're going to be charged more considering they just sold Nick Wiltemada to Newcastle for €90 million. Jusuf Arabi, the Swedish striker for Hammarby, is going to Millwall for €5 million. So it looks like Hammarby are going to lose two of their front three, possibly. I don't know if that will affect the deal for the Tunisian winger Celtic are looking at, but it could do maybe something to keep an eye on. But you would expect Celtic to announce the confirmation of that transfer pretty soon, because it is 5:15 now. Although maybe they'll leave Celtic fans waiting in anticipation to see who they might bring in.
Interesting to see.
Don't go to bed yet, selves.
On the difference, the money that those Hammarby wingers and Hammarby in a club are probably similar size and stature of Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts, etc. And James Penrice, Hearts' best player last year, we only got just over 2 million. But then their players are getting almost treble that, and it's maybe we need to start getting more bang for our buck up here for our teams. But likewise, it's good to see St Johnstone getting around about $500,000, I believe, for Mackenzie Kirk to Portsmouth today. So it's promising. He had a bit of prospect at Hearts, and he's kicked on a little bit at St Johnstone. And he's got a future.
Just on your point about getting more for transfer fees, that's something that I've kind of been whining about for a while, because when O'Reilly going to Brighton, if he was playing for Ajax or someone, a club would be paying 60-70 million. You know what I mean? And I know we're maybe not as good as the Eredivisie as a division, but I don't think we're that far off the overall quality. If you put it as I mean, I think our top two teams are maybe not as good as their top teams, but I think the rest of the division would be closer than you think it would be. And that's definitely something that I've been whining about for ages, because, and the fact, obviously, and I think the fact where Scottish football is financially can be encapsulated by Rangers signing today Yusuf Chermiti. In our eyes, as Scottish football fans, that's a huge amount of money to lay out. But in the modern day football, that's one of the cheapest deals you can get. That's like bottom of the barrel stuff, and Everton fans seeing they're getting 8 million for him, they're probably thinking, "Oh, we signed him for 12, and getting 8." £4 million loss, not too bad. You know what I mean? So, and for a lot of clubs in the SPFL, £4 million is maybe 6 or 7 players, maybe even more than that. You know what I mean? So, I think the financial disparity is just going to keep getting bigger. And we spoke about him earlier. Alexander Isak was signed for 125 million. I think if you balled together maybe 7-8 clubs in the SPFL and put all their player transfer values together, it might be close to that. You know what I mean? It's absolutely mental.
Yeah, it is, and as Delpha said, Hammarby aren't even one of the biggest teams. And I know they're maybe one of the bigger clubs in Sweden. They finished second last season. They're in second just now, but they're not even a Malmo or a AIK of Stockholm that you would say are the biggest clubs. So, and you don't look at the Swedish league and go, that's a better league than the Scottish Premiership. And yeah, but yet again, they're demanding more for their players. So yeah, that's a problem we've got, and hopefully we see some change in the future. But as Alex said, there's nothing to suggest that that's going to happen.
Unfortunately, maybe that is the reality, that we have declined in the past few years, and as tough a pill as it is to swallow, we are sliding down the coefficient. I think we're 17th or 18th now. So it's debating, and you're right when you look at the Swedish, Norwegian league, whatever, Belgian league, arguably, maybe not quite that, but you'd be like, oh, we're on par, or if not a little bit better. But it's just showing that we need to stick up for a game more. I've got the best fan base in Europe as well.
Yeah. Just to let you know that the Lyndon Dykes go to Hibs, well, it's still a big question mark because it's still not been confirmed. But hopefully we'll learn something soon. So it's still up in the air, and he's still with the Scotland squad in Glasgow. That is a bit weird because back in the day they used to go to Loch Lomond, but the cost of living crisis for hotels and all that kind of thing. By the way, can I just say, I can't believe I can't believe it. Every time Alex is speaking, he's actually went to the effort and putting on a jacket for the show. So that's amazing. That's better than digging
the tie off. It was too hot, too annoying. But I'm committed to the jacket. But yeah, no. I've got another. This was a wee while ago, so I'm not sure if Aberdeen managed to get it done. And they're still yet to announce it. But there was a report saying that Aberdeen were trying to beat the deadline to bring in Bologna as Jesper Karlsson, Swedish winger. I believe he is a Swedish international as well. He's played for the first team. He signed for Bologna a couple of years ago after a really good season. A few seasons at AZ Alkmaar. He's kind of an electric winger, and I'm not sure if they've maybe got it done and they're still yet to announce it. But this report was a while ago. I just thought it would be something interesting to talk about. And also,
I was just going to say, I'm assuming we've all just seen the same report about Celtic.
No.
I missed that about John about Kenny, is that?
No, well, I've just seen something here. Celtic have apparently signed Tunisian winner Sebastian Taneke on a 5-year deal from Hammarby, £5.5 million fee.
Oh, okay.
Well.
Ethan's happy.
Well, no, I think that one was, we kind of knew that was coming. And I think, to be honest, that £5.5 million for him, I can't say I've ever seen him play, but looking at his statistics, and obviously statistics aren't the be-all and end-all of football, then I think Celtic are paying a little bit too much for him, but unfortunately they've not given themselves an option to do otherwise. So, yeah, I think he'll be, he's the one that's been confirmed, and I think Celtic fans are pretty confident that one will be over the line. But apart from that, it doesn't look like anything else is going to be coming their way anytime soon, unless
now that Iheanacho's contract's been terminated, you're not really restricted by the deadline, so you could see him in the next couple of days or so.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing is, the thing is, a club could, just as Ethan was saying earlier, a club could look at that in a day and a half if it's not done for Celtic and go, you know what, they're taking too long. We're just going to come in, put a bid in, and Iheanacho probably prefers that option, so he goes and picks that club. So it feels like, although there's no pressure there being a deadline to get the deal done, I feel like there almost certainly is in terms of Celtic. They need to try and get him in as soon as possible.
I think that's what happened to Lennon Miller as well, because obviously Celtic were looking at him, and at the last minute I said, you know what, I'm away. As well, did they dally about with Celtic? You know what I mean? So, by the way, just to bring it back to the show, we've got a show on Friday night. Denmark against Scotland. That's an easy game. We should beat them. We're on at 7:15. And the analysis of the 5-0 defeat from Scotland will be on at 10 o'clock. So join us on Friday night as well. But it's been a busy end to the window. I'm just looking about to see if that deals went through Lyndon Dykes, and it doesn't seem to be. It's still out there, but it's not confirmed.
Aye, speeding across the M8 as we speak at 100 mile an hour, skirting about.
Yeah.
Might put the traffic cones out along Lothian Road or Sighthill to try and block it.
Yeah, that's coming from a Hearts fan as well.
Well, I don't think how much. You still wait and see how Dykes does, but.
He's been rubbish for that. He's trying to be diplomatic here, Telfer, but he's been rubbish for a year, for the past few years, and he's been rubbish for Scotland. So I don't know. I feel like a lot's getting made out of this. I don't know if Steve Clarke's got some weird influence at Hibs, because they seem to just be signing his pals this summer.
David Marshall's head of. He's got like a big boardroom role at Hibs, I believe.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So
someone, and Mackay, what's his name? His first name?
Malcolm Mackay.
Okay, I think he works for Hibs.
We're gonna be in a position as well where Hibs will have more Scotland internationals, I think, than Celtic and Rangers. So that's a wee bit strange, because obviously Callum McGregor's retired now. Kieran Tierney's in the squad, I think, but he might be the only one from Celtic. I don't know because Aaron Hickey's back in the Scotland squad, so is Max Johnson. So
Ralston's in the squad.
Is he?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. Didn't really pay attention. So Ralston and I said his name a second ago.
Kieran Tierney.
Yeah, there you go. Ralston and Kieran Tierney. That's my brain fighting for the last 5 minutes. But yeah, Ralston, Kieran Tierney, and then Rangers as Liam Kelly and John Souttar, I believe. So if Lyndon Dykes signs for Hibs will have more Scotland internationals than them two. So
yeah.
Quite interesting.
That is interesting. I think just to go back to Netke at Celtic, I think that signing
clearly wasn't that interesting, but you know.
What?
I think Rangers as well. When you look, I couldn't believe the price difference between Dessers for $3.5 million to that Chermeti for 10.
Yeah.
Dessers a big miss for Rangers, in my opinion. Yeah. He's a workhorse. Yeah, he misses a bucketload of chances, but you worry about a striker when they're not getting chances. He still gets chances and he still puts one or two in the back of the net. And
it's a strange one.
Is a bit. I know he's proven at Aberdeen, but he's got more of a point to prove now, and it's not going to be. Miovski might not be a success either.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Ethan, for jumping all over you there. I was just saying, because you said that's really interesting, and you went, now we go back to Tareki, so I just jumped in and went.
What more did you want me to say? What did you want me to say?
Clearly not that interesting. I don't know
what did you want me to say?
No, I was just making a joke.
Make something up, Ethan.
We're gonna have
I was going to say
a live beef.
A live fighting transfer.
I was going to say about Taneke. I think that it sums up Celtic's transfer window because he is a left winger by trade, not a right winger. So Celtic's still not replacing Nicholas Kuhn. Yeah, I think that sums it up really.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, cool.
So
you say something interesting.
I will say something interesting. Just let me think for a second. Great podcasting. Could someone take this off? I'm just going to keep talking in this space. Could someone take... Oh yeah, championship. Dunfermline Athletic signed. I can't mind his name off the top of my head, but they beat out Danish and Swedish clubs to bring in a defender from the Ghanaian Premier League. You know, and I feel like even though they were defeated last week and drew this week, I don't know. I've just got a funny feeling about Dunfermline Athletic this season.
Good or bad?
A good feeling. A good feeling. Obviously, Neil Lennon's the manager, and he's not been. His recent years in management maybe haven't been superb, but he knows the Scottish game. And, you know, they've brought in a lot of good young talent, a lot of sort of international talent as well, which you don't see often in the Scottish Championship. Sometimes you don't even see often in the lower half of the Scottish Premiership. So
yeah, Uche Ikupizu for St Johnstone got called up for Uganda today as well. So it's interesting to know if Kenyan, sticking the African theme, Victor Wanyama, has he been playing this season? That has been quite quiet. I don't know if anyone heard of it. No, he's signed on at Dunfermline, I believe, in the summer. I may be wrong if I didn't go through.
So he did sign last January or something.
I thought the deal fell through. I don't know.
He signed and then he got sent off in his first game or something.
I know he does still play with Dunfermline. Oh no, wait, no, he last played for them. No, I don't think he does.
I think he left or retired.
What about Stephen Welsh signing with Motherwell? I mean, I remember we spoke about them, maybe having a settled back too. They like to play in that system, but I think Welsh will probably add a bit of quality to them.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think Motherwell have had a really good window. A club we haven't spoke about too much during this episode, but they're interesting as well because I kind of feel for them and I feel for the supporters because I feel like obviously Ryan disagrees with me on one of these and you might as well, Robbie, but I feel like they should have won every single game they've played so far and they've just not been able to get it over the line. And it must be really frustrating for them because if you've seen Motherwell this season, they play exciting stuff, but it seems they are there to be got at. So yeah, maybe he's the key piece they need to shore up the defence, and then they'll start just battering teams week in, week out because they're their attacking play at times can be quite frightening.
It is mental that we look at a Motherwell team that have lost a guy for £4 million, probably their biggest player, yet they don't seem to have gotten much worse. The team look very settled. They've added bits of quality where they maybe need it, and the player practice style of football. And I agree with you, Alex. I personally think they probably should have done better against us anyway. And I didn't watch the full game against Hearts, but they absolutely picked Hearts apart for the best 70 minutes.
Yeah, Elijah just picked the strings. Was at that match. It was clear to see. He even got a bit of an ovation from the Hearts fans and limped off in the 89th, 90th minute. He's a real prospect as well.
So I take it the man would be the guys here happy about the club's business would be Telfer, the Hearts fan, and Alex.
Yeah. I think the jury's still out on a lot of Rangers signings, but certainly signed a lot. So I guess we'll see what happens.
I think the signing of the window, Robbie, is Malowski for Rangers. I think he looks good. He looked good in bits and pieces yesterday in the game, and that we know what he's capable of.
Yeah, I think there is an element of risk with him though, because the thing is with Rangers' current three strikers, senior strikers that they have, Miovski last year, Chermiti his whole career, and Danilo in recent years at Rangers, none of them have had
10 goals between them in the past 10 years.
Yeah, something like that. So that is probably the concern for me. But I feel like Bojan Miovski, he's probably the most likely out of the three to become a goal scorer for Rangers. Now, it's an insane amount of money to lay out for Chermiti, but now that he's in the door, I want to give him a chance. He's still only young, but obviously with that price tag, you're expecting maybe at least 20 goals. I know I've said give him a chance, he's only young, and then turned around and said that, but when you're paying that in Scotland, you need a return. So I'd say probably bare minimum 20 goals for him. But yeah, Miovski's probably the most likely out of the three strikers Rangers have got.
Alex, I was reading a few things for a few Rangers fans earlier, and some of them are absolutely fuming with the outgoings. I mean, one player that keeps getting brought up in every conversation I'm seeing is Rabbi Matondo. That I don't imagine he's on a light wage. I imagine he's getting paid quite a bit. And
he's on 30 grand, I think.
And he's not even getting near the Rangers team. I mean, does that not frustrate you, mate, as well, that you've maybe not done a lot of outgoings? Yeah,
that is a frustrating one, but according to some reports that I was reading, Rangers were working hard to try and get him out, but nobody wanted them, basically. So there's not a lot you can do when nobody wants the player that you're trying to get off the books. But yeah, he's one that's taking up a wage. Another guy that seemed to have fallen back into the background after Marcel Martin persisted with him for a bit is Kieran Dow. I still can't believe he's a Rangers player. He's so bad. Why didn't Birmingham take him? They seem to love him down there, probably because of the quality of league he was in. But anyway, I don't know why he was. Yeah, I don't know why he's still there. There's a few lingerers that I can't think of off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure there's a couple. But yeah, Matondo's definitely one that you forget's there, and every time you hear him mentioned, you go, "Oh God, we actually still employ him." He's turning into a kind of a James McCarthy figure.
Or Barry Mackay at Hearts.
Is he still at Hearts?
No, he got released a couple of months ago,
right,
but he's still a free agent. No championship clubs picked him up.
I don't know if you guys have said this already. I've been beavering a bit in the background. Luton Singh winner Shagan Morris from Aberdeen. it's undisclosed fee. So I don't know if you guys mentioned it. I'm trying to listen to you and look on 50 different monitors at the one time. So, apologies if I've missed that one about 2 hours ago, but there you go. But yeah, sorry.
I honestly can't remember if we've talked about it. Everything today is just blended into one for me.
No, I mean we talked about the potential of Shedden Morris leaving, but nothing was confirmed. I think when we last spoke about him. So
right, well, it's been confirmed now. So yeah, he's away down south.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because he was really good for Aberdeen last season, but he always seemed to be better when he came off the bench. He was a real impact player. And, I don't think you can rely on an impact player to be your best player. The reports that I was reading earlier in the window, the fee was quite sizable. It was around maybe £600,000 that was being rumoured for him. So, take that and run, I think, for a guy that's had one good season, because before that, the Aberdeen fans at the start of last season really wanted him gone because his start to life at Aberdeen had been terrible. A decent fee for him.
There you go, guys, and that's the transfer window shut. And I think we'll do it all over again at Christmas. So it's been a busy show tonight. We packed a lot into that hour. We didn't get a plastic bag to put everything in, so that was good. Didn't have to pay 5 pence for the bag, so that was good. Thanks to everybody it's been watching the show. Thanks to everybody that's commented. Thanks to my brilliant panel of experts. Apart from me, I'm just here to hold it all together like a bit of sellotape. Thanks to Robbie, thanks to Ethan, thanks to Alex, and thanks to Telfer, and obviously thanks to you as well for watching. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, do that now, or else forever hold your peace. It is on the Scottish Football Zone, and you can follow us on Twitter as well. As my throat begins to get a bit husky now, I think like Barry White when it happens like that. Also, you can follow us on Twitter as well. X. I might get caught by that because I still call it Twitter and all that. We'll be back on Friday because Scotland's going to beat Denmark about 5-0, and we'll be very happy indeed. If you believe that, you believe in anything. So thanks for watching tonight, and thanks for your company, and we'll see you again on Friday.
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.